Before, some of our readings would go from high to low, and we were kind of chasing our tail sometimes, trying to keep our chemical levels, our lime feed at a steady pace. Now that's, it's real steady, and that in itself saves us time and energy and money, because before, when we have our lime feed, if we had trouble with it, it would cause us, down the line, it would eventually cause us to backwash filters more than we needed to. And so that took more water, more energy to produce the water. Your water chemistry would get out of whack, and this works a lot better.
RDP support to us when we had a problem, and didn't have to be a problem really per se. We had a question. It was answered pretty directly, and if the gentleman or whomever was talking to didn't have an answer, immediately went to someone that did. So our questions were answered, relatively quickly. But I can't imagine there's something being out there that's better. It's user-friendly as heck as it could ever be. If I was a salesman, man, I'd recommend them.
Consistent is not a word I would use with the old Slakers. With experience, our operators just got used to, how you tweak the machine. Whenever your raw flow increases coming into the plant, you kind of learned how to make adjustments based on the amount of water that was coming in. It's the complete opposite. It's as consistent as you could ask for, I would say. It's very sensitive in that the adjustments you make, you see the change. And you look at our old Slaker, it's like Cadillac versus, an old, a very old Ford, so.
Oh yeah, there's much less time spent worrying about the Slaker than it used to be. We used to have to go up and check the other Slaker pretty much every hour. Always had to do something to it. Had to shut it down, clean the grit hole out, make sure it was running, make sure there's actually lime feeding. This Slaker here, we just check the screen, that's about it. It's you don't hardly ever have to go up there. We go up there once a day, a shift, to dump the grit barrel. And that's really the only maintenance that we do to it on a daily basis.
Okay, the training really was pretty good. They explained all the aspects of the unit, walked us through both units to show us, if there was any differences between the two, and for the initial startup of them, and open the cabinets so that people wouldn't be afraid for the first time that the cabinets were ever opened after personnel had left, as to what's inside, and explained all the connections in that inside for the scale and how all that worked inside, integrated into the system. Even though it was a little bit more complicated, once you looked at the books and read things, that made things easier, and to know that how everything was working on its own, it made our whole life easier up here.
We thought at the time it was state-of-the-art for slaking and feed. We got the RDP system in a little over 2 years ago, and immediately noticed less labor required in the daily operation. The general line of thinking was that the old system was a little inefficient. We did not know how much. We had nothing to benchmark it or compare it to. We went to the new RDP system, and with everything being PLC controlled and monitored through SCADA, the apprehension was that it was too complex, that we took a simple, cheap piece of equipment, replaced it with something expensive that was going to be maintenance intensive or time consuming. The automation has actually helped us to do that benchmarking and compare to the older system as best we could with our manual records, to where we're confident that it is approximately half the labor involved and much more efficient process.
Well, the technology of the RDP system is a lot more advanced than the old one. When we first got it, we were a little concerned, hey, is this thing going to be a little too complicated with all the air actuators to the pinch valves and the feed valves on top of the Slaker and the transfer pumps and all these things. What kind of maintenance were we going to have? What were going to be our issues, and what kind of bugs were we going to have to work out of the system? And we were concerned about it, and it didn't take us long to figure out it was a lot nicer system. Our old system took a lot more work. We'd have to go down and change gearing on it when our flow got real high. On the new system, you know, it's flow paced on our SCADA. We set in there a set point. Ours happens to be 8.1, 8.2. And for our pH controlling system, and it sets right on. It does a really good job.
Well, the old system was labor intensive, and this RDP system is not. One of the features I like is that when you make a well adjustment, flow change, you have an instant adjustment automatically. You don't have to wait for the Slaker to catch up to the treatment change. A lot of all the graphing's done, good records. You know, you look back on a computer and on the screen you can temperature, when the batches were made, everything. It's all there at your fingertips.
The RDP system is it's a very clean system, hardly no maintenance at all, little PM here and there, but that's it. And the treatment is very consistent. Our treatment is better now than it ever has. The pHs come out, they're very steady, they are very consistent, and for a 24-hour period, if I'm running a 9.3 pH, I can get a 9.3 for 24 hours.